Again, just to preface, I'm Michael Trang. I'm a project manager at Zenergy Labs and Zenergy Ventures. Zenergy Labs is a e-commerce kind of agency. We deal with Shopify stores and helping startups build their stores, and also helping Shopify stores edit and update their stores as well. Christian kind of leads the project management there, talking with the client. And as far as Zenergy Ventures is concerned, we help startups, same thing, build their companies, and we help them in ways, whether it be financially or with marketing or SEO or development. That's what we do. So if you guys have startup ideas, feel free to send them our way, and we'll definitely take a look. We could go into a venture together. That's what we do. Oh, and also, I'm a project manager, like I said. I like to preface that I am a designer with front-end tendencies, so I know there's a lot of brains in this room, so I'm sure at some point in time you guys are just going to ask questions that I cannot answer, and I will defer to Melissa and or whoever else would like to answer, since I've worked with her on developing a store before. So just so you know, that's where we're at. So Shopify. What is Shopify? Shopify is an e-commerce platform. It's built for online and brick and mortar retail. The brick and mortar part was just recently introduced with Shopify POS, which I get into a little bit later. Shopify powers over 175,000 online stores, and this was recent data from, I believe, maybe 3 months ago. Data that I received at the end of last year said about 150, so Shopify is growing at a ridiculous rate. In addition to that, Shopify has helped customers sell over $7 billion worth of products. And it is one of the most widely used e-commerce platforms. Their main competitors right now are Magento and BigCommerce. And we'll get into the competitors here in a little bit. And they also recently released their IPO. And if you're interested in investing, their stock ticker is SHOP. And I believe last I checked, it was at $27.58 at closing today. And they actually did kind of go down a little bit, so I want to investigate that a little bit.
Time to buy.
All right, yeah. So who uses Shopify? If you're familiar with Sriracha To Go, their store is built in Shopify. I may have purchased a couple things from them. All you web devs and web designers, you probably know about the Oatmeal. Their store uses Shopify. An awesome web comic, or comics in general. Tesla also uses Shopify for their online store on shop.teslamotors.com. One of my favorites is the Wu-Tang Clan has Shopify. Selling their random swag and whatever else they need. In addition to that, plenty of other stores, like I said, 175,000 stores, and I just kind of grabbed a couple here that I was a fan of. So in the competition space, we have a lot of competitors. By we, I mean Shopify. Like I said, the big ones are Magento and BigCommerce. And here are a handful of other ones, which I won't go through. I'm sure you've dealt with plenty of them before. You can ignore the CSV file, call out there. I pulled this graphic from Google Images, so I got some weird stuff in there as well. Okay, so Shopify, what's it made of? Shopify is built on Liquid, which is a language that is based in Ruby that Shopify developed. Okay, so now we'll get into setting up a Shopify store. I don't know how many of you are not devs. Can I get a show of hands to? Perfect. Okay, cool. This will be good for you. And some devs, you guys, if you've set up a store before, this will just be a good reminder of how to do so. So setting up a Shopify store, how easy it? According to Mr. Mackey, it's super easy. So step one, all you have to do is register on Shopify.com. There's call to actions all over the site. Pretty much anyone you click is going to bring up this modal window and have you sign up. Second step, you're going to be asked to choose what type of store you would like to set up. The first one is going to be online, and the other one is going to be a retail and online store, which refers to the POS system that they've just integrated. After you get through that step, they're going to ask you for some general business information that you'll enter in. And then the last step, some general biz info. They're going to, you can't read that at all, can you? They're going to ask you if you're already selling. And then the second question is how much revenue that you're making. Just some general information that they want to gather from their users. And after that, you're pretty much done. And then you're going to get a store that looks something like this. This is my store of super awesome stuff. There's nothing in there yet, so I need something to populate it. But this is the basic template that they're going to give you. The template, I believe, is called Launchpad Star, and every store starts out with this template, and that's what every store is going to look like.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I talk a lot with sort of a range of amateurs to seasoned users around the globe on the Fishbowl, and a common question is, hey, do I have to register a business to set up a store?
Well, Shopify does ask you to run your store. They're going to ask you for an EIN. So yes, you will need a business. You will need that EIN number along with other business information.
And how easy is it to get an EIN?
I believe you just go to the Board of Equalization and fill out some forms. And
matter of fact, there's
voila.
a toll-free number, and it's about a 6-minute phone call. I got an EIN just like that.
Very nice. So there you go. That's how easy it is.
Michael, I share with you.
I'm sorry?
They now have an area where you can go in and it's like a sandbox.
Okay.
And so if you register to partners, now you get a login and you create stores, but they're not real stores, and you don't have to deal with all that crap. And it's even got a button that says, instead of pants, you set up a bogus shopping cart.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I'll talk about
What we were talking about, I believe you were talking about the partner program?
Yeah.
You were talking about the partner program.
Well, and building sites that aren't real stores.
Right. We can discuss that a little bit too. Yeah. We're discussing the partner portal, which we'll get into in a little bit. It's your development environment for setting up stores that aren't actually stores.
And you don't need an EIN.
That's right.
All right, so what's under the hood? Briefly, we're going to go through the Shopify admin just to give everybody an idea of what to expect when they set up a store for either yourself or your client. It's the basic layout, similar to WordPress. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with WordPress. One sidebar nav, and then the rest of the information is on the second side or on the second column. On the home page, you're going to get a standard dashboard. Since I'm not selling anything under my super awesome store, I'm not seeing anything here, but initially you would see some analytic data, some sales data, and some order data here. Going down the line, you're also going to see orders. Obviously, this is where all your orders are going to show up. In the drafts area, that's where you can actually mock up a cart. This is something new that they actually just implemented just because they get a lot of phone calls with people that want to place orders. So you can go into the draft area, set up the order, place it through the cart, and then check the person out. And the last one, abandoned checkouts. That's kind of the nice thing that's baked into Shopify. It's actually got an abandoned cart algorithm that will tell you how many people have left your cart, and it allows you to actually send a notification. I believe it's either 6 hours, 24 hours, or 6 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours to actually try to catch that lead before they disappear.
Does it ask you what state in which they abandoned their cart?
No, but you do have the IP address, and I believe you can pull the state information out of that, or at least a region area. So under products, obviously, this is where all your products are going to reside. Inventory, it'll show you an inventory count if you're keeping inventory. And if you're also hooking that up with, if you're using drop shippers, that's where you would see their data. Collections, if you're not familiar, collections is what Shopify calls categories. So for instance, if you're selling, men's shoes would be a collection, and under that collection would be men's shoes. The next one, gift cards. Here you can set up gift cards. That's pretty self-explanatory. Next, customers. All the customers that go through your checkout process are going to be logged here, and you can get to their order information. It's a good place to, you can export all this stuff and then remarket accordingly. Your reports, they go through some detailed reports. Obviously you can see they have gross sales, order sales, payments, sales by channel. And that's something we'll talk about a little bit later. They have the Pinterest, the buy button, and also the Facebook sales channel, which you can tap into, which I think is pretty cool. The next thing you have, discount codes. Everybody's seen them. Everybody knows what it is, so I won't go into it too much. You can do by percentages, by flat rate, free shipping. There's a handful of options once you crack in there and take a look at things. Next thing you're going to get, let's see, where are we here? We're in the online store. Again, this is a dashboard. It's a little, I don't know if you guys can see that back there. It's a little faded. But here, again, you'll see dashboard for sales, visitors, conversions, and your top products. I actually pulled this from one of our actual stores, but blurred everything out just so you can see the data. Blog posts. Shopify has a baked-in blog. It is pretty basic. It's nothing like WordPress. And that's something we're working on as well as far as getting it to rank well in the search engines. Pages, that's just for general pages on your store, your About Us, your privacy policy, your TOS, any other information you want to provide. That's where you would edit those pages. Let's see, we got themes. We'll be cracking into that in a little bit. That's where you're going to have all your theme templates, the unpublished and the published ones. You'll get in there, you'll take a look under the hood. You can edit this HTML, CSS, the SAS file, SCSS file that is, and a couple other things. And then we have your navigation. That's where you're going to find, obviously, your navigation. Within the navigation, you'll see what's called link lists. And within Shopify, they have this thing called link lists, and you basically build out, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You know, if you have like 5 pages you want to include in your footer, and it's called like, you know, your information, and it's like, you know, like I said, TOS, privacy policy, whatever else you want, you would put that into a link list. You would call it maybe, I don't know, like footer column 1 or something, and you can call that anywhere on the site you want to produce the, to display the link list. And again, that's what navigation works under as well, under the main nav that is. And domains, that's where, depending upon where you set up your domain, whether you do it on a subdomain like shop. Or you do it on your root domain, that's where it checks the connection and makes sure everything's hooked up correctly, because when you basically set up a site, you would have to point the A record to Shopify's IP to get the store all connected. And that's where the connection takes place. Next one, apps. Shopify, like a lot of others, have built their CMS around an app marketplace, which is one of the reasons why it's so great. Once you get the Shopify build out of the box, you get the basic bare bones. It's limited by some of the things you can do, and that's where the apps come in. So creating an app in the App Store is very beneficial if that's your thing. And if there's something you want to do and you can't figure out how to do it, and you can't hard code it, there's private app work. So it's definitely a place to look for functionality if you're a small business.
Trent, would that be analogous to a WordPress plugin?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. All right, last item in the admin is the settings. Here, general settings, general information about your store address. The next one down is payments. That's where you can accept certain payments. The default payment within Shopify is Stripe. Depending upon your plan, it'll determine what your processing fees are. In addition to that, they have a couple of other connections that are baked into there as far as payment processors. So if you're using like Authorize.net or something like that, you can always hook it up. PayPal is also baked in, so you can turn that on, put in some PayPal information. Just a note, you need a business account. You can't hook up a personal account. That's not going to work. Google Wallet is also baked in, so you can turn that on as well. And a couple other things once you guys start cracking into the actual Shopify store. So that's it for the admin area. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's not very convoluted. If any of you have been in like Magento, there's menus and configurations all over the place. I think it's one of the big selling points behind Shopify is how it's simplified everything for the user. It's meant for the mom and pop shop all the way up to, you know, the big enterprise businesses. So speaking of all that, here's pricing plans. This, I'm not sure how accurate it is. I could have sworn I was being split tested last night when I was putting this thing together, because I had like this page and then I had another page that was telling me there was like a $9 like light theme, like light plan as well. So I'll kind of go over both. If you can't tell, there's the starter theme is down here, the little guy for $14. That's kind of the one that is a little bit different than everything else. You only get 25 products to load. The processing fee is a lot higher. It's 2.9% as opposed to the basic plan, which is 2.9 also, which is 30. That's not different. So, but the professional plan, which is 2.6, and then the unlimited plan, which is 2.4. Other than that, the only thing that differentiates the lower plans and the higher plans is you're looking at the reporting, and I believe the other thing that there's something
Well,
else.
on the $9 one I was looking
Yeah.
at today, it said you can't have an online store.
That's correct. That's just the POS system. And I'll bring up that chart here in a second here too, which is why I thought I was being split tested for some reason. That one came up and this one came up prior.
The Pro
Yes.
has it.
Does Shopify still have a percentage charge for using the site?
For using the site?
Yeah.
Like using, what do you mean by using the site?
1%?
Like a consumer just browsing the site
No, no.
without purchasing?
If you're using it to sell online, does Shopify take any percentage of your sales?
Oh, if you're using Shopify, like if you're gonna like if you have a Shopify store and you're using, like you're embedding the product and purchasing?
If you have a Shopify store and you're using, say, your own credit card processing company.
Uh-huh.
Does Shopify take a percentage of your sales?
Yes, they tack on, I believe it's 2%.
That's on top of this 2.9?
Yes. I believe
They
so.
want you to use Stripe.
Yeah, they do want you to use Stripe.
Stripe's just that.
Yeah.
So what is the 2.9?
So if you use like a separate, like a different payment processor, like if you, like I said, if you're using
So if I sell
authorized.net.
so much money, I sell so much product, and then they take 2.9 goes back to them, is that what you're saying?
So the
They-
2.9 is,
yeah, to turn that on, that's what they take out of they take the 2 out of the, if you have like an extra payment processor.
Oh,
So like the 2.9 is if you're using Stripe.
It's gonna be 4.9 if you have your own payment processor.
right,
Yeah.
but, so any process, anything you
Any
would
extra payment processor, yes.
cost more, but just a normal, using Stripe, you still
Still have to pay.
have
Still
to
have to
pay.
pay.
There you go, thanks
Yes,
Stacy.
depending
And
upon
the,
your
and the
plan.
fee is monthly, or is that one time?
Yes, those fees are monthly.
Okay.
Those are monthly
well,
fees.
the prices that are listed at $29.79 and $179, those are monthly, but then the credit card fees are every time
Real
someone
time.
makes a purchase.
That's correct.
It's in real time.
Yeah, those are
Right.
payment processing fees, yeah. Every
Okay.
time a transaction happens on your
But
site.
this isn't like buying a
That's
theme
the
where you
fee.
pay once and then you're done.
Correct, it's not like buying a theme.
Okay,
But if you do buy a theme, a Shopify theme, then yes, that is just payment once.
yeah,
But
okay.
the store itself is a
Still
monthly
costs,
plan,
okay.
yes.
The apps you mentioned, are they free or monthly fee or annual fee or
They
one
range.
fee?
They range. A handful of free ones are good. You'll get some monthly ones from $199, and you'll get some monthly ones. If you're doing inventory management, they can go all the way up to like $500, $600 a month, depending upon your inventory. A lot of them do it monthly. Some of them do it by transactions or number of products. Something to definitely, like when you get into the app marketplace, definitely take a look, browse around, and make sure that you understand the pricing model, because it can get a little sketchy depending upon what you're looking for. Was that helpful? Did that kind of answer the question?
Sort of.
Sort of, not really.
They used to charge 1%. Period.
I was
Hold
not
on.
privy to that during that time.
Now,
I would think that would be a big question, like, so do you actually consult clients on, like, either go with your own and or, I mean, 2 to 4% plus taxes, plus your unborn child, you know, like,
Right, sure.
you know, it can,
Sure. Ideally, I mean, as far as the pricing model is
Or
concerned and their
do you
business
always-
model, like
Yeah.
they obviously want you to use their payment processor. They want you to use Stripe.
yeah.
You know, and it's not outrageous. It's not, out of question. I mean, if you're on a pro plan, you're looking at 2.6, I believe, so plus 30 cents per transaction. But if for some reason you really want to use your own payment processor, they have that option too. So, but yeah, obviously clients want to save money, so the obvious option is just use their payment processor.
Yeah.
The one they don't really talk about too much is Shopify Plus. Shopify Plus, there's a couple of differentiators and there are a couple of different criteria to actually be considered a Shopify Plus member. I won't go into that, but the basic gist of it is you need to apply, they need to accept you as a Shopify Plus member, and then they'll open up a bunch of golden doors as far as your store is concerned. And this is for big enterprise guys. Some of the guys that use this is, I believe it's like LA Lakers is one of the stores. I can't recall a couple other ones, but you definitely need to be making some money in your store to apply for a Shopify Plus pricing plan. And those are decided as far as monthly on just a per store, per business basis.
Anyone's a black card holder in here.
It's like, you might want to consider it, yeah. All right, so here's the chart. Oh my God, you can't see that at all, can you?
No, if you turn that light off, that
I can
might
barely
help.
see it too. Is there something we can do to
Is there
change
any way
the
to turn that
contrast?
light off?
No, without
No, without
turning
turning
the
over.
off.
No?
I'm not
Okay,
dark.
well, I'll let you guys take a look at this on the slide share, but it's basically what I went through again. And here, actually, I showed the light program. Yeah, not even better?
Really?
A little bit.
We'll get used to it, it'll be better.
Yeah, okay.
We're getting eye tests.
I swear, my Max calibrated.
Everybody, put your head on your table.
Yeah. So there's a light plan that we were talking about earlier. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I was split tested. And that, like was earlier said, it does not have an online store. It just gives you a little POS swiper to do some, I guess random sales. Not advisable.
They actually have a $14.99 plan as well, which is does give you the
The
store.
starter plan,
Yes.
right? Yeah, I kind of went over that briefly a little early in the slide. All right. Some other features that comes with, I believe, at least the professional stores. I'll have to double check on the smaller stores. But recently, they released what's the buy button. And you can get to all this within your admin. You basically go down to your sales channel area, and you would turn on your buy button, which gives you embeddable code for each one of your products. So if you have a WordPress blog and you're hosting a Shopify store and you want to basically show products on that WordPress blog or that website, you can just grab the code, drop it into your site, and they can click and they'll go through the shopping cart and be able to purchase.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. Buyable pins, again, this is one that you have to, yes?
Will they also have an add to cart button?
I believe once you click buy now, it's going to take you to the cart page and it's going to drop the product in that cart. Yeah, I don't think there's an add to cart option. Yeah, but it'll take you into the Shopify cart page. As far as Bible pins go, that's a Pinterest thing, and it's at its current phase, it's application only. So you need to apply, and just recently they've kind of lifted the restrictions on it. We applied a couple of times for a couple of our stores, got denied, and recently got okayed. So it allows you to, once it's in the system, all you need to do is connect it to your Pinterest, and whenever somebody pins your product page, it will show up with that buy button. And it gives the option for the user to purchase it directly through Apple Pay or through your actual payment processor. So I think it's pretty cool too. And I believe this is just on mobile now. I kind of went through and took a look at certain stores, and I've only seen it on mobile. I'm not sure, it takes a little, I'm not sure if it's something with Pinterest not updating things in time. I'm sorry. But it takes, I believe it takes about 4 to 5 days for the application to go through. So something to definitely look into. And the Facebook buy button. This currently is in beta. Again, it's one of those things where you can sign up for. And basically you can load your products, or you can define your products within the settings, and it will allow you to have a little buy button when you're doing Facebook ads.
Hey Trey, we have somebody who chimed in from the internet.
Oh, cool. What's that?
Debbie Gray says, I'm with you guys on the live stream to help answer the transaction fee question. If you use Shopify payments for your payment processor, you don't pay transaction fees. And she gave a link for reference.
Okay.
And that's on the desk.
Perfect. That's the answer.
Yay, Debbie. Thanks, Debbie.
I know. If I had a gold star, I would give it to her. Okay. And I think, one of the last features I want to talk about was the Shopify point of sale. Is the Shopify POS, point of sale. You get a free little card swipe with this. With every Shopify plan that you have. Well, not every Shopify plan. I believe it is the basic on up. You'll get the free card scanner, and you can make sales from anywhere you want. You'll see a lot of food trucks, a lot of guys that are mobile go about doing this. You can also hook this up with a cash register. If you want to buy the iPad stand, you can do the iPad stand, and then also the receipt printer, and then a Bluetooth barcode scanner. You can get all that stuff. It comes at a price. I think it averages probably around like $500 for the basic package. But if you have a brick and mortar store, it's definitely something to consider. Just because all this stuff syncs up your inventory, whether you sell in your store or you're selling online, all the inventory syncs up, so you don't have to worry about managing multiple inventories, which is really nice. Okay, so here's a basic overview of a development workflow and theme customization. I'm sure most of you are interested in this. If you haven't touched Shopify yet, it's not too complicated. The basic structure of a Shopify store is you're going to have your home page. your categories or collections page, as Shopify calls it. You're gonna have your product page, your blog, default page, which is the general page. You have your contact page that has its own template, and then you're also going to have your cart page, which also has its own template. So when if you're going to start from bare bones and you're going to be developing a site, what you need to do is you need to sign up for a Shopify partner account. What that does is it opens up a development area for you, and it allows you to install themes, create themes, and do all the development stuff you need to do. I can't explain it any better way.
So that's an entry point for developers only, as opposed to I'm a storefront and I want to start with Shopify.
That's correct. That's
so
correct.
That's meant for
yeah,
that.
somebody with a normal store owner won't really need to get into the partner portal.
Yeah.
You can use it for payment processing, testing and stuff, but you can't actually do any purchasing through your store. But it's a great environment for setting up.
It has two real strong features. The first is you have a dashboard where you may have 5, 10, 15 stores you're working on, but they're not out there. They're password protected. Your client could look at it, but they're not available to the general public. And when you're ready, you convert them to a real Shopify store with all of your clients' account information. And they also have a dummy checkout that's just, it's right there on your list. There's all the usual things, and then there's dummy payments, or bogus payments, I think they call it. And you install that just instantly, and you can, and your clients can practice checking out with the shopping cart without, of course, having any actual financial transaction happen.
Yes. Yeah, and clear it. To your point, this is what it's going to look like. Block out all the development stores we have, and basically the first thing you'll do is you'll go in here and you'll create a development store. And from there, if you're building the theme, there's two themes that Shopify suggests. One is Timber, and that's actually built by Shopify. It's got a bunch of different things already baked into it, which is pretty helpful. And then the other one, I believe, is called Skeleton. And that one's also on GitHub. You can grab that. That's super bare bones, super, like pretty much nothing on it. So depending upon what kind of developer you are, you can pick your poison. Yes, Mr. Quinn.
Do you know if that's related to Skeleton CSS?
Not at all.
I do
Totally
not.
separate.
Apparently not. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So next thing you do is you're going to install your theme on the development store. As you can kind of see there, because of the contrast, you're going to upload your theme with that little button. Pretty easy. Oh, yeah. Just a little note. Okay, so we ran into this recently. If you're going to be developing, and you're just messing with the theme files, then you don't technically need to set up a development store or partner portal, development environment, things like that. You can basically make a copy. So let's just say, for instance, you have a client and they want to update their theme, whether it be a design or it's just basically anything that you can manipulate within the template. You would create a copy of that store. It would fall into the unpublished themes area, and you can actually edit the theme from that area, as opposed to creating a whole new store for it. A lot of times, clients won't even like the fact that you want to create a separate store for them if they already have a URL that's functioning. So what you do is you create the. Let's see if I have a slide of what that looks like. Yeah. So what you would do is you create that. You would duplicate that theme. It would fall down here into your inactive themes. And then you can make all your changes from there, and you can actually preview it real time as well without affecting anything on the store. And that's the way you should do that if you're just editing theme files. Now, to go back a little bit, if you're manipulating site architecture, if you're moving products, if you're creating linked lists that actually involve like the core, the core structure of the site, that's when you're going to need to, if you're doing like drastic changes, that's where you're going to need to develop. You're going to need to create a development area so you can do that without affecting the live site. Otherwise, obviously, things are going to get jacked up on the live site. Client's not going to be happy. You're going to be in bad shape.
What happens to the products? I mean, what if the lifestyle has 200 products? I want to change the structure. I build in the development area the new structure.
Sure.
Do I lose all those 200 products?
No. It's funny. The thing. Okay, so you would think that Shopify being so user friendly, there'd be like a push button thing to just, hey, let me just copy my store over to partner portal, but there's not, unfortunately. At least as far as I've researched. I've asked 2 Shopify experts and a couple of forums, and the way they do it, if you need to copy over the site, the things that you can export are products, let's see, products, customer data, a couple other things.
Collections,
collections.
tags, and it's CVS. You export a comma separated values.
That's correct.
And you import them in your new store, and you're done.
Yeah.
And you may lose a little bit, but you're not going to lose much.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that you'll need to restructure in the development side, but it's not too terrible. Some of those things you have to do manually. But yeah, you can pretty much export everything and get it looking pretty close to what it is. The only thing that I would worry about, that we're currently worrying about, is making sure if they have any like API set up or any apps or other things that have like custom code, like you want to definitely try to recreate that within the development store as well, just so checking JavaScript doesn't interfere with each other and things like that. That part it gets a little tricky, but unfortunately, from what I understand, that's the only way you can do it right now. Did I answer your question? Kind of, sort of?
So when you're migrating these things to the development area, will order history, transaction history, all that come along as well?
I believe that's one of the exports. Yes. Yeah. There's a couple different areas you got to go into export, but I believe that is definitely one of them. Yes.
And that's the case too, coming in from Magento or something.
I already spoke about that. Editing just the theme files and how you would go about doing that. Okay, so we'll just briefly go over the file and folder structure here. So when you get into themes, this is what your theme files and folders are going to look like basically. It's pretty basic, nothing crazy in there. I've listed a couple of liquid files. Those are the main ones you'll probably be concerned with. There are obviously a handful of other ones in there, but for our purposes, I'll just run through the important ones. So within your layout folder, that's your main theme folder. You're going to have your header, your navigation, and your footer, and that's where all that information is going to go. So if you're going to edit any of that stuff, that's where you want to be. In your template folder, this is going to be your main template files. Index, obviously your home page. Product page, here's product.liquid, your blog.liquid, and your default page. And then for this, I pulled from the Timber starter framework, and their file is a timber.scss file. As far as the SCSS files are concerned, what's nice about Shopify is if you're using SaaS, and it does use SaaS, the preprocessor is on their server, so you don't need to do any type of setup for that. And it'll just automatically generate a CSS file on their side. And then now you have your snippets folder, any other random code within the site that doesn't fit within the template, or code that you want to call multiple times on different templates, that would go there. Your assets folder, image, any extra style sheets that you want to add, any extra JavaScript. Your config folder, here you'll see two JSON files. One's going to be settings and one's going to be for the theme. If you're going to be editing your theme, the theme admin, and I don't know why I didn't put a screenshot of this, but the theme admin is when you get into the theme area and you click on update theme, this is where usually your client is going to go. You'll get some information similar to WordPress where it's like, what color do you want your theme to be, like what hex code, blah, blah, blah. It controls some footer, basically it controls whatever you want it to control. So in order to hook that up, you're going to need to get into your config file, or your config file, I don't want to call it config, your config file, and update it there, hook it up to the theme settings, and then also update your template accordingly. So you'll probably be in and out of those files a lot, so it's good to know. And then your locales, translated content, I've never been in there. I don't know, to deal with international sites. So.
It comes with German, Brazilian Portuguese, Portugal Portuguese, Spanish, French, and English.
Wow. There you go. Very robust. Yeah. So that was kind of the development area. Obviously, I didn't go into any syntax. That will be saved for another WIMP meeting, I think, right? Okay. So let's go back over the pros and cons here. So I might as well bring up both of them. Shopify, easy install, all-in-one retail solution. User-friendly admin. These are all things you can tell your client if you're looking. If they're deciding, these are things you can talk about. There's plenty of forums out there. There's plenty of charts to compare things. Everything you need is out of the box. The large app marketplace where you can basically get anything you need done. If you can't do it if you can't hard code it in, there's usually an app for it. It's affordable. It's a hosted solution, so security is kind of taken care of. You host it yourself, like OpenCart or one of those other open source CMSs. You got to worry about all the hosting and all the issues and security. Another thing that clients like, it's got an open API, so you can do a lot of crazy things. as far as, you know, if you want to manipulate certain things, pull in from certain other websites. Mobile SDK, that was brand new, they released that, so if you want to develop a Shopify app in iOS or in Android, you'd be using the software development kit for that. It's got great customer support. I have never had to wait more than probably 5 or 6 minutes to get somebody, whether it be on the phone or they have an online chat service, which is pretty awesome too. Everybody's super knowledgeable. If they can't figure it out, they find somebody that does. Your POS, if somebody's looking for a all-in-one solution, they have a brick and mortar store and they want to sell online as well, and they don't want to deal with all that nasty inventory management, this is something that definitely you can present to them because everything's just synchronized in the back end, and then you have one place where you know where all your stuff is. Omni-channel retailing, like I mentioned earlier, you know, you have your Facebook button, you have your Pinterest pin and buy button, and you have your general Shopify buy button. A lot of ways to market, a lot of ways to sell on different channels. And the big thing that I found very useful is it has an extensive documentation and resources. So there's a huge area that kind of documents everything you need to know. If you're building a Shopify theme from scratch, you can find out there all the objects, all the tags, everything that you need to know. It's all well documented, and you usually won't even have to go find anything on, like, you know, Stack Exchange or anything like that, which I'm sure some of you have been into before, trying to figure out how to do things. So the cons, you know, I also had this as a pro, but sometimes people like really cheap things. Shopify does offer that within like $14 to $9 range. But like I said, if you're comfortable with hosting something yourself, you know, and you're just paying like hosting fees, you can install something like OpenCart, which is open source or e-commerce software, and then manage it that way. So let's see, customization can be a little hacky. And what I mean by that is Shopify doesn't really allow, so let's just say, for instance, I ran into this the other day. So if you want to be able to give users the ability to update individual product pages, you really can't do so without adding an app to help aggregate that information, to allow the client to put that information in. So let's just say you have your product page template and you want, for one item, for each different item, you want the user to be able to enter in some kind of unique information for that product.
Monogram.
Sure. Yeah, we could do monogram. Well, that could be a template. Maybe a template. I don't know what it would be. But it's unique. So let's just say it's unique per product. Well, you can't build that into the back end to where the user goes into the product and they'll see a form field that says, hey, enter in this unique information for this product alone. Shopify doesn't allow for that type of customization on the product page. So in order to get around that, one thing I would recommend is downloading Shopify uses MetaFields. So it's a MetaFields app, MetaField editor. It's a free app that you install, and basically you hook that up to your product page, and instead of going to the product page in the admin, the user would actually be going to that MetaFields app, which is accessible through a little button at the top of their product page, and that's where they would enter the information in. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So basically on a product page you have your product field, your price, you enter that in, you have your variants, whether it's blue, sizing, things like that, and then under that you have your product description, and that's about it. So what I'm saying is if you want to add anything else, you're probably going to need to install your MetaFields editor, and then go ahead and hook that up to your products, and then have the user or have the client enter the information that way. Yes?
Is the SEO in product on the product page?
Yes, you have the ability to edit your title tag, your meta description, and I believe that is it.
Yeah.
And the URL. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So that's baked in there too. That was a long explanation for the hacky thing. Sorry about that. Second level collection landing pages aren't standard. Another kind of development thing that I want to mention is, so let's just say Shopify has a single layer to collections. So you can do shoes, and then under your shoes you just have all products. Unfortunately,
not men's and women's.
I'm sorry?
Not specifically men's and women's underneath that.
Correct. So in an ideal situation, if you wanted to segment out your products a little bit more, you would have shoes, and then under shoes you would have men's shoes, women's shoes, boys' shoes, and you'd be able to get to the products from there. Well, unfortunately, Shopify doesn't have that functionality, so something like that would have to be hard-coded into the store. And you would set that up also through linked lists, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, checkout page is not customizable, and on the Shopify URL, this only applies to the all the way up to the unlimited plan. The Shopify Plus plan has that included. Some people see this as a deterrent just because you're bouncing out of the actual your store URL. It's kind of a trust factor for some people. Some people it's not. There's not a lot of branding available when you do that. The only thing you can do is you can link up your logo to that checkout page, and it's going to be, I believe it's checkout.shopify.com/ and a bunch of random numbers. So that's kind of a downside to it. You don't have a lot of control over that. Page-specific customization requires apps, similar to what I was talking about, things being a little hacky, so that's kind of redundant. And the blog itself, it's a standard blog. You know, it's probably a dumbed-down blogger, but definitely not as robust as WordPress. You can't manipulate things as well. I don't believe there's, you don't have dedicated author pages. So as far as the build goes and as far as like SEO goes, you kind of really need to work your way around it. I believe it does, the template does have, what is it, semantic data, so schema data. I believe it is on the template itself, so that's something you don't have to worry about. But in general, you know, I mean, WordPress is kind of a monster, so trying to turn an e-commerce platform into a WordPress blog is a little far-fetched. But that's about it. These are some references. Again, I added that Shopify pricing because I was getting some weird pricing back and forth when I was doing my research. But you'll get a full chart at that website, Tool Tester, as well. Some other information, partner portal, that's where you sign up. Apps.shopify, that's where you'll get everything you need to know about building a Shopify site or running a Shopify site for your business owners. And then the starter themes, the skeleton theme, and also the timber theme, those links are up there as well. And that's it. If you need to get a hold of me, this is my stuff. I Facebook, just like cat stuff on there. Dog stuff. nothing relevant to what you guys need.
You didn't have a cat tax in your presentation.
I didn't. I tried to. I couldn't. Yes.
So, I know you said you didn't want to show us syntax, but is there any way to just show us what it looks like when you're entering a product?
When you're entering a product?
Yeah, when you're
like just like putting a product on your page.
I've got it set up on my laptop right here. You can come and put as many products in as you want.
Do you have are you gonna put that up on like SlideShare and do a Bitly link or something?
Yeah, I'll put this up on SlideShare, sure.
Yeah, throw a Bitly link on me.
That was the plan. Let me see if I can bring up something here. Sort of soup of awesome stuff. Where am I here? Let's see.
Michael, I've got the
I'm sorry?
I've got the wedding stand theme open. If
Uh-huh.
you wanted me to jump up there and show some of the
Maybe. Give me 1 second.
This is a very novice question.
Yeah.
I covered my password and everything, so I'm all.
Oh, that's all good.
It's a very novice question, but how secure is Shopify? Like, I realize that it's connected to like PayPal, but there aren't any known like hacks.
What would they get
Not
to?
that I know of. The checkout's PCI compliant.
Yeah, the PCI compliance, that's pretty secure.
Yeah. The only thing I can attest to is that Shopify, the actual store itself, you can't apply any like secure protocol, so you can't apply an SSL to the entire site. The SSL just exists on the checkout page, which is kind of a deterrent for some people for SEO purposes. Obviously, anybody that knows anything about SEO, you know, they've been touting all
Why
the
can't you use SSL on the
secure
Shopify
stuff.
site?
I'm sorry?
Why can you not use SSL?
You don't have
on
access to
Shopify?
the server to drop the certificate on there.
Oh.
Yeah, since it's cloud-based, they kind of restrict you from that kind of stuff. You just can't get into it. So that's kind of a downfall. But again, with Shopify Plus, you can do that. So, start big enough. Start selling a lot of stuff. They'll let you go on Shopify Plus. Very briefly on products, you're exiting products.
Add a product.
Yeah, so we'll add a product real quick. Here's a big. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You know, general stuff.
Cats, come on.
So, yeah, no. I won't enter anything in.
Mittens.
This is basic. Nice. This is what it looks like. So there's not much to it. Your title, your description.
You can
If
drag
you have
and drop
collection set up,
images.
that's where it would go. That's where you pull that. Actually, collection's
Images.
down there. Your product type. If you want to track your vendors, see which vendors are actually selling well, which aren't, which ones you can drop, which ones you want to buy more from, that's where that information would go. You have your images, your main image, your variant images, if you have like certain colors, things like that, all your images go there.
Can you put video on it too?
Is there a video on how to do this?
No, can you put video?
Can I put video on it?
From Vimeo. Or
Yeah, you can embed.
It's the full
Yes.
rich text editor.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just write well, do your keywords, Song and dance.
Hire a copy editor, you know.
Yes, you can embed video. From what I understand, they don't get a lot of click-throughs, so I'll consider maybe not doing that. Inventory, SKUs, I mean, pretty much everything that you would want to know from a business standpoint on your product. You can enter it all in here. And if you're calculating shipping upon weight, your weight can go in there. There's some interesting ways to kind of jimmy that. I know one time I had to kind of just designate the client had a situation where he wanted free shipping after 3 products are entered into the cart. Well, there's nothing that's baked into Shopify that does that. So, you basically apply a poundage to every product across the board, and then so let's just say everything's a pound, and then when you get above 3 pounds, it's free shipping. That's kind of a way to get around it. Other than that, I haven't really looked into any apps to take care of things like
So
that.
is there a way that when you're in the WYSIWYG, let's say, is there a way to look at the code at all, or is that?
To look at the code, you can toggle your show HTML in your editor. Yeah,
Okay.
you can toggle that way. If you're looking at the actual product page template, that would be in your theme settings. Yeah, within your theme. Yes, Sir Quinn.
Is there a review system? Can people post reviews on products?
They can. Again, that's something that's not baked into Shopify.
Like one of those apps or something?
Yeah, there's 2 apps. One's by Yotpo, which actually recently got acquired by Google, and I think they're just going to take all their reviews and shove them into Google reviews. And then there's another one, I forgot what it was called.
Okay.
But yes, there are apps for that. Yes.
How smart are the variance system?
How smart are the variants?
Yeah, I mean, if I have a T-shirt in 3 size, 3 colors, but I only have 5 in my inventory of the 9 possible combination, can it handle that?
It can do that. Anything more, it will explode. So you can do, T-shirts, size, color, and it'll break it out once you create that variant. You'll have each one of those combinations, and then you can assign it a SKU, and then update your inventory.
Will it say that only 3 left or something?
Yeah, as long as you're tracking inventory.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll keep that up to date. Yes. Yes.
Can you sell electronic data, like?
Yes, you can sell digital media on Shopify, and I believe digital media. I think we had this conversation earlier today, but I'm not sure if that's taxable or not.
Taxable with no shipping.
Taxable, right? No shipping, right? So yes, you can sell digital media.
So, in other words, if you have an ebook, you want to have someone sell it, can it work so that as soon as they buy it, it's sent to them, or they get a link to download it?
It depends on how you want to configure and if you're using an app or what you're basically using to sell it. I mean, if you're hooking it up to Gumroad and you're selling digital goods through that, then I believe the payment processor is going to be processed on Gumroad. Every situation is different, so depending upon how you set it up. I mean, you can fire off a notification. So let's just say, like you said, you're selling an ebook. Well, within Shopify, there's a bunch of notifications for a sale. So let's see if I can figure out where that's at. I forget. Email triggers, notifications. So within notifications here, I believe you can hook it up to where, depending upon what they order, it'll trigger a notification email, and it'll send them the PDF after that.
Oh.
Or if you're setting up some kind of like squeeze page or some kind of gate to get people to buy your book, you can probably do it that way too. So it really depends on you, but it's
Do you
doable.
happen to know if there's somehow it's encrypted, or is it always the exact same URL? Because that was sort of defeat the purpose.
That's a good question. I don't know. It's like, I do not know.
What, the download link?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
I got
It'll
two.
always be different.
Oh, no.
It will be different.
Talk a little bit about the shipping methods that are offered,
Sure.
like FedEx or UPS.
Yeah.
And do they have a subscription program where you can like do like a recurring billing subscription type thing?
Yes, that would be set up through actual USPS.com or actually through FedEx. And I believe all they ask you for is just your login information. And
So they have full integration for
yeah,
for all
yes,
that.
yes, that part's baked in. So if you want to take a look at some of the shipping options, it's squeezed in there pretty tight. Let's see here what we got going on here. Where are the shipping options? These are payments. PayPal, Google Wallet, alternative payments. Oh, I know why it's on here. Yeah, I actually need to put my credit card in and get things to start going, and I have not done that. But yes.
Let's see you do it.
I'll do it.
Come on, man, type in your
Right now.
Let's go.
You're not gonna get it.
I got my camera on right now.
I got nothing on me. You want to buy popcorn? Yes.
From the user standpoint, do they have to create an account or register it somewhere before they make a purchase?
Make a purchase of the Shopify store in general.
On the store that you create, does it user of your store have to create an account in order to purchase one here?
No, once you create a development store, the development email that you use will be the store admin, and from the store admin you can add what's called staff members, and you just add the client's email as a staff member, and they can go into the store that way with that login, and then edit the store that way if you want to.
You mean consumers?
Yeah, I mean
No, he's saying on a live site.
After your
On a
I
live
would buy a
site.
t-shirt.
Oh, if you like create a login for like if
Yeah, to
you wanna
save
get-
your payments.
get
If you're
past.
sneaky and you want to remarket.
Yeah, you can create logins.
Is there
Yeah,
an
it's-
anonymous checkout or not?
yes, there's an anonymous checkout.
But you can choose to make it so that they have to log in, or you can choose so that they don't
Yes,
have to log in.
yes, you can gate
Correct.
that. Yeah, you can gate that.
And I have,
Yes.
I have a couple questions.
It's like, sure, hopefully I can answer them.
I did a lot of research on Shopify.
Yeah.
And my understanding is the $9 a month is called Lite.
Yeah,
And it doesn't give you this online store, it just gives you the option to have the buy button.
that's correct.
And then the $14 is like putting your shop on hold. So your store doesn't get deleted, but you can't use and sell.
I'm pretty sure you can use it to sell.
Only 25, anyway, only 25 products is what it is.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
that was the one that was only 25 products you could sell. Yeah, your starter plan. I believe so.
My question is, so I bought a theme.
Yeah.
And I started changing some things. I downloaded it and I added some fonts,
Mhm.
brand fonts into the assets, and I used fonts for, I'm trying to use Fontbase to do this.
Sure.
I was able to make it work.
Uh-huh.
So now we have all our fonts, custom or our own fonts, because there's only 30 fonts in the theme option, which I thought was a little limited, but maybe not.
Yeah, but it's got Courier.
What?
Comic Sans.
I was gonna go with the Pirates, but.
Right. Nice.
He knows you, Melissa, he knows you. Well, my question is, so the theme says, oh, it comes with automatic updates. So if the theme updates, is it gonna override the fonts that I installed in the assets folder, et cetera?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're installing directly in a theme, there's no core. There's no core. It's all theme templates. I haven't encountered that before with an update. I mean, it's not the update itself is not connected, is it? To where it, like you press a button and it updates. You need to manually install, correct?
I really don't know.
I think you need to manually install. I don't think there's a direct connection with it where it would say, hey, this theme it needs up like similar to WordPress. Like, hey, you need to update this. I'm unaware. I haven't seen that before. But yeah, I would assume if you have custom stuff in there, that updated theme is gonna wipe your stuff out. I would definitely, obviously, save it down, copy it, and then just pull out the elements you need, and then shoot it back into the new theme.
Yeah, I'd be
It
happy
seems like a
to,
conversation with the theme developer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you about it later.
Cool, thank you.
Is there any kind of membership functionality, meaning if you become a member, get 20% off? And so you have to sign in, I'm serious, that's.
Yes, I believe there is. Again, I don't think that's baked in. I think you're gonna need to download an app for that for sure. You can segment, no, that's discount codes. You can segment collections and customers for discount codes, but as far as membership, yeah, that's gonna require an app.
Okay.
I think that's gonna require an app.
So a lot of people are doing like wine around this area.
Yeah.
Does Shopify let you exclude from shipping to certain states, like if you can't sell wine to Tennessee or something like that?
Excluded
And can you talk about
different
tax?
states.
How do you handle taxes?
Taxes? Oh, you can define taxes per state if you'd like. It allows you when you crack open the back end here and you get into the taxes area. You can basically say that all the taxes are included in your prices, and that kind of negates the tax add-on at the checkout phase. Or you can define. Let's see. If I save this, I believe. Well, hold on. If I go to your tax rates. And then here, California is defaulted just because they know who I am. And I believe you can add, there should be, yeah, you can add specific taxes for specific states if you need to do it that way.
Just add Alaska and just see if it defaults to what that state tax is already.
It actually automatically will calculate
Sure.
the tax depending on where you put your states in.
Yeah, but can I just add a
Sure.
precaution?
Yeah, Christian.
Your
Sophia, next.
alcoholic beverages
Don't sell them on Shopify.
aren't
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's kind of
not yet. Right?
Compliance is a big problem for wine, and
Yeah,
you do not want to be trying to sell wine on a platform that doesn't comprehend
If you know,
state licensing.
I see.
yeah, just
And beer, forget about it.
Like, just go in as an anonymous guest and talk to Bin 65 and consider their price tags, and there's a reason that it's very expensive to platform.
It took Amazon
because
like
the TTV stuff is just
5 or 6
brutal.
years or something just to get to the point where they're at right now, where they're allowing the sale of alcoholic beverages. And they still do
Huge.
very well, huge thing. We've all been burned.
There you go. There you go. No alcohol sales. Yes.
I was curious about the design customization Shopify permits. Do you mention you get full access to SAS files?
Yes. That I know of. Yes.
And they're decent about it, or they kind of douchey about their code?
They have the most beautiful SAS file I've ever seen in my whole entire
It's
life.
actually a really great way to learn SAS is through Shopify. Like, the Timber framework is awesome, and everything is organized so nicely.
And they got mix-ins baked in and everything, so. Cool. Thank you.
So yeah, when I just started working at a place where we use Shopify, and I started doing the website, I did not know SAS until last week.
Awesome. Yeah, it's not too bad, right?
Well,
Yes.
how's integration with fulfillment? So let's say I've got a garage full of aromatherapy candles or something.
Okay.
Somebody makes an order, I get notified, I pack them up in my garage and ship them out. But what if I have some products that get drop shipped from somewhere? And how does Shopify work with product fulfillment?
Product fulfillment. Okay, so if you're managing inventory that way, we've actually run into this ourselves. Unless you're hooking it up through some kind of inventory management app, or if you're hooking up directly, hard coding into the your dropshipper's API or their inventory, whatever CSV file, XML file, whatever they have, the inventory is not going to be able to talk to your dropshipper unless you manually set that up. There's a couple apps that help you do it. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about. It's manual at first unless you put effort into it to actually automate it. You know, install the apps or API setup.
So as a shopper, I would get a notification that I bought 6 t-shirts. I happen to know that 3 t-shirts come from my garage, but I've got to go over to some print-on-demand t-shirt company to get the other ones done. So,
Yeah, you'd have to manually update all that jazz. It's not fun.
And a lot of the print-on-demand companies
have their own.
Have a really, really nice integration. But if you're talking about, you have a guy in like San Jose who's got a garage with the t-shirts in it. There are ways that you can tell Shopify to instruct the guy with either just a very Spartan email or maybe a nice PO or something like that. But it's about the guy coming up with the rules for you.
Yeah, initially starting with some of our stores, we'll have a handful of dropshippers, and if you've ever dealt with dropshippers, you'll realize that each one, depending upon how old they are and how technologically savvy they are, they'll have different processes to process an order. So we had an instance where we actually had to, from one distributor, one dropshipper, it was like, it's out, fax it to us with your order, we'll fax you back, it's going to be awesome. And then another one was like, send us a tab delimited CSV file of your order. So it can get pretty gnarly. It can be pretty gnarly. So, like I would try to get drop shippers that are technologically savvy, that have some kind of XML file, CSV file that actually updates their inventory.
And then an associated question would be things like invoices, packing lists, and all that. Does Shopify generate all those?
No. So we use an app called Shippo, which prints out shipping apps. A couple other ones out there. That one hooks up directly to your ordering process. So when you place an order, all the information gets passed into this app. So when you're on the order page of that customer specific order, at the top there's going to be the 3 little dots. Click on that. It's going to take you, say if you want to go, it gives you the options of which apps are connected to that order. You click on that app, it'll take you, whether it be outside of Shopify, onto that actual URL, or it'll just show within the URL admin panel, and then you just process the order that way and ship out your label that way. Print out your shipping label that way.
And how much does Shopify cost every month?
Shippo, the monthly? That's a good question.
It's only $15.
It's per order. I think it's per order.
I think
Is
it's
it per order?
$50 a month. I don't
It costs
know
money.
for sure.
It's not free. It definitely costs money.
Bitcoin.
Yes.
That's not
You,
real
you've
money.
been mentioning it, do all the apps additional funds?
No, not all of them. Yeah, definitely some of them are free, and some of them are really good that are free. So the problem is just doing the research. It's going to take some time.
Are there reviews?
Yes, there are reviews on the apps. Yeah, pretty trustworthy too. Yes.
And the apps are the apps done by Shopify or by independent?
By independents, there's a handful by Shopify as well. Yeah. So you can just look at the developer and they'll tell you.
Moral of the story is if you want to make money, develop an app for Shopify.
It's like, it's not a bad idea.
Or if you really want to make money, do it.
Definitely not a bad idea. Yes.
Kind of that same vein, how extensive is the Shopify API and how you limited to a certain set of languages if you do want to create an app? And also, how much of that are you allowed to, can you use both server side and client side scripting for that app and so on and so forth?
Probably. There is extensive documentation within the Shopify docs.
Can you bring up a product?
Yes, what would you like me to bring up?
Just whatever product you have.
I don't have any products.
You don't have? Can you make a product?
Can I make a
Well,
product?
no, I can just tell him. You're an Android programmer, right? Okay, so basically it's Shopify is Rails, and if you're looking at a product or any endpoint, if you just put an extension of .xml, you'll get XML. You put .json, you'll get JSON. It's just like Rails. It's all baked in already.
Yeah, you two can probably touch base after this. Narrow that out. Yes.
I have a question about what they're calling handles or the URL.
Okay.
Permalinks in WordPress, but
Yeah.
my understanding is they kind of pigeonhole you into using their hierarchy. So melodycopy.com is their website.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be /pages/about or
Correct.
/collections/copy.
You have no choice.
There's no
Correct.
choice.
No. Yeah.
Just wanted to see if you guys knew a workaround.
It's Shopify
No.
Well, could someone build an add-on?
Apparently, there's none that I know of. I'm sorry. What? Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe someone can build an
So
add-on
keep that
to
short.
make the URL instead of /category/blah blah, just /blah blah blah.
there you go, Shelby.
Maybe.
There's your homework for tomorrow.
That one, I don't know the answer to that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, you can do it. As of right now. As of my brain.
Charge a buck a
Things
month.
that are inside of it. Yes.
Everyone
This
would
could be out
have
of
to
left field, but like I feel like if like QuickBooks and WordPress had a baby, like this Shopify is it. If how is this here to stay? Like are there other competitors neck and neck? I was Googling it and I guess it's in Canada.
It is in Canada. Toronto, I believe.
Like are there competitors? Like it's obviously your choice to date. Is it like WordPress, like where it's here to stay and I feel like the whole room's invested in
Sure.
learning more.
Sure. I mean, I honestly believe so. Just because, I mean, they have a public offering. I guess technically somebody could buy it and squash them. That would be terrible. But forecasting that kind of stuff, I can't really tell. But I mean, it's in the top 3. And it's killing Magento. It's killing BigCommerce as far as growth goes. So if they're going anywhere, it's not anytime soon. I can't imagine it be going anywhere in the next 3 to 5 years. Unless Google buys them and makes them disappear.
They, what they did was open such a big market, or such a new market that so many other markets have copied them. So you'll see a lot that are just like Shopify, but not quite like Shopify.
Yeah, it's a clever business model, building a CMS, an e-commerce CMS around an app marketplace, similar to what Apple did. So now you have all these people invested in the actual platform and marketing for them. Especially if you're a developer. You get like affiliate links and things like that through your partner portal. So they've kind of tied in the user or the developer or whoever, like the app developers. They've really tied them into their system. So I honestly don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon.
I trust you. You're the expert.
Oh, thanks.
So following on Diana's question, so I got a small store I want to put together. I can go to Shopify, or what about WordPress with a WooCommerce plugin?
Yeah. So you're asking me which one I prefer?
Well, just
I don't know.
Take
but
30 seconds
I'm gonna
and say.
Honestly, I haven't had too much work with WooCommerce. I believe it's just it's a shopping cart plugin on your WordPress site, correct?
Yeah.
I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're e-commerce centric, I would go Shopify and the blog second. Obviously, if you're driving all your sales through your blog and you have just a couple of items here and there, then maybe WooCommerce is probably the better option for you. It really depends on your business model, I think.
I have a short answer to that question.
Boom! Quit!
If you really want to integrate your website and your e-commerce all in one and you're doing a lot of custom work, then you probably want to use something that is built into your platform. So if you're doing WordPress, maybe you use WooCommerce. If you're doing Drupal, you might do Drupal Commerce. Like if you have like a lot of user accounts where people are doing stuff on your site, integrated forums, membership stuff, user account profiles, and you want to also sell stuff, you can either build your Shopify site kind of off on the side on a subdomain and theme it somewhat like your main site, or exactly if you want to take the time to do that. But there's always going to be that split. But if you want to have everything under one roof, then you probably don't want to use Shopify.
Quit.
Yeah, they did.
A WordPress buy button? I mean, someone just has to build a buy button on WordPress.
Sure, yeah, I mean, you can do it numerous ways. It really depends, yeah, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to come. Yes?
So our biggest issue is that we have a total of 4 different businesses.
Okay.
And we are basically paying like monthly for 4 different stores. Eventually going to be doing 4 different stores. Any other suggestions?
4 different stores, 4 different products, 4 different verticals?
4 different brands.
And you want to combine them all?
No.
No? Oh, you're asking for like a
discount
plan type of
what
thing.
is an idea that would be a better option?
What would be an idea?
Buying for.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I've contacted Shopify, and they're always open to cutting deals. So I mean, I would contact them and see if they're open to it.
Sure.
To kind of lower your costs, your overhead, things like that. But as far as any other option, I don't really know. If you're talking about apps, app developers, a lot of these app developers, they're like 1 or 2 guys. If you give them a call and you're like, hey, I'm going to install your app on like 4 of our stores. I want to come here with a deal. They're probably going to be apt to help you out. Pun intended, sorry. Yeah, they'll probably be more open than like a big, freaking Shopify.
Conglomerate.
Yeah. Yes?
Another question.
Sure.
QuickBooks comment. My understanding is if you want to sync your information with QuickBooks, you have to buy an app that automatically syncs your sales.
That is correct.
QuickBooks as receipts.
I'm sorry, what was the second part?
I guess they send your sales to QuickBooks as receipts. Your information goes to QuickBooks. They have to pay for it.
Yes, you definitely have to pay for it.
Then that is an automatic feature, but if you wanted to download and export, you know, you can do that to QuickBooks and download your sales information and export it.
Yeah, it's just a CSV.
Okay.
There you go. Oh man, this is easy up here. All right, good. We're answering the questions for
Best questions are the ones that get answered.
I know, it's awesome. It's awesome. I hope that was helpful, yeah. Anybody else? All right, cool. That's all I got. Thank you, everyone.